So welcome everyone to this channel of mine, the name of which is Gaurav Kumar Jain. And first of all, thank you very much to all the students who are regularly sharing the link of the videos I'm posting on my channel in their groups so that the videos can reach to the maximum number of students, and they can also come and join this channel and enjoy these free online coding classes I am providing right now. Okay, so today we are here for developing this app, the name of which is Zomato, and I'm already done with designing all the screens, all the required screens for this app. Fine, now how I have designed these screens, that's what we are going to discuss afterwards. But first of all, I would like to come on this screen one and let's define the code for this first screen. So there is an image button which I have defined on this screen one. Okay, on this you are able to see this Zomato's icon. Now how I have got this icon, that's what I would like to tell you. So what you have to do, you can install Zomato's app on your respective mobile device and just take the snapshot of all the screens. Fine, so this is the first screen you're going to come across when you will first open that Zomato's app. Take the screenshot of that, get it into this paint software, okay, and you can edit that image in such a way that it can properly fit into this image button over here. And the view that you're going to get should be somewhat like this. Fine, so that's how you can create this screen one. Let's define the code for this screen. So I'm going to have an uneven block in this workspace for this screen one. Now what is the idea of this? What is the ID? Okay, there is no image button on this screen one. I have made use of this image property of this screen and imported this zomato.png image, and for getting this image reflected on this mobile simulator for this screen one like this. Okay, now let's define the code for this screen one directly. So I'm going to select this screen one from this first drop down. Where is that? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, now when the user will hit this screen one, I would like him to get redirected on this beautiful screen 2. So how can we do that? We guys can come on this UI controls panel, and here we guys can select this set screen block so as to redirect the user on this beautiful screen 2. Okay, how I have designed this screen? So the answer is very simple. I've taken the snapshots from that Zomato's app I downloaded on my mobile device, and then I imported the snapshot on this mobile simulators screen using an image button. So this is image one button which which you're seeing right now on this screen too. And on this image button I've used this image with name 2.png. Okay, now on over this image I have placed some components. So the first component is this input box, the ID of which is phone 1, in which the user is required to enter his phone number. Then there is one more input box in which the user is required to input his name, and after that he can hit this send OTP button. Okay, so let's start defining the code for the components which we have on this screen. But before that, I would like to tell you one more thing, that there is a label box which I've placed right on the top on this screen too, and with this label box I'm going to redirect the admin person to the admin screen. So here I am replacing the ID of this label box with admin. Fine. Okay, let's come on this coding panel, and I'm going to define the code for this admin named label box first. Where is that uneven block? Yeah, this is the one. Let's place it in this workspace and select the ID of this label box. It is admin in small, right? So this is the one I'm looking for. Let's convert it into text-based coding. Now in order to get the user redirected on this admin screen, what we guys can do, we can make use of this set screen block. Let's put it over here, and the ID of this admin screen is admin. Everything is in capital. That's how you need to enter the required information over here in between these two double inverted commas. Let's make this app more interactive by adding a sound to this uneven block. So I'm going to make use of this place speech block. Let's place it over here inside this uneven block and replace this whole text with something like hi admin, welcome to the admin dashboard. So this is what the admin is going to hear once he is on this screen, on this admin screen. Let's go back on this screen too and start defining the code for this send OTP button. So for that I need an uneven block. Okay, the idea of this OTP button is OTP1. Fine, and when the user will hit this OTP button, the first thing I would like should happen is the user should be redirected on this beautiful screen 3. So for doing that, we guys can make use of this code, and the idea of this screen is the screen 3, right? So this is what is going to redirect the user on this screen 3. Then over here we would like to hear something like this in the background. I would like this to hear, the user to hear in the background. So hi user, kindly note down the OTP below, or the below OTP. Yeah. Okay, so automatically I would like a random OTP to get generated, which should be visible to the user, getting reflected in this get OTP3 named component. So how can we do that? The best way with which we can do it is by making use of this random number block. So I am going to make use of this set text property first, because we want to set the text for this get OTP3 named component, which is there getting reflected on this screen 3. So where is that set text block? Yeah, this is the one. I'm going to place it right above the set screen, because before the user get redirected on this screen 3, I would like the OTP to get generated first, right? So the idea of this component is get OTP3. I'm going to copy it from the designing panel of this Applab, and let's replace this ID with the ID of this component. Now I would like to set the OTP equal to something like this. Then we can have a random number. This is a 1, and I'm going to place it like this. Okay, let's replace it with 45000, and then so random number somewhere in between this and this is going to get generated, and before that Z will be concatenated with that number, and this is how, that's what the OTP the user will get to see over here in this component. Okay, now as per this speech, the user will be required to note down the OTP, and after that he can hit this login with OTP button. Let's define the required code for this button. We need to come over here in this UI control section, and let's make use of this uneven block. The ID of this component is OTP login 3. Let's copy the ID from this ID part of the properties section of this button. Okay, I'm going to paste it over here like this, and as soon as the user will hit this login with OTP button, I think the page got refreshed by mistake. No problem, I think we'll be able to get everything whatever we have defined till now. Yes, so everything is there. Okay, let's come back on that screen 3. Okay, so what is the ID of this component? It is OTP login 3. Let's come back on this coding panel, and here I'm going to replace this ID with OTP login 3. Now as soon as the user will hit this OTP login 3, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 4. So for doing that, we can make use of this line of code, and let's paste it over here and replace this 3 with 4. So this is going to redirect the user on this screen 4, and now the user will be required to enter the OTP which he just saw on that screen 3 over here in this input box. Alright, now as soon as he will enter the OTP, if he will enter the correct OTP, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 5. Otherwise this error message should be visible to the user. But initially when he will come on this screen, I don't want this error message should be visible to the user at that particular time. So for doing that, we guys can hide this element using this hide element property. Now the ID of this component is OTP text. I'm going to come on this design panel and let's copy the ID of this component from this workspace of design panel and paste it over here in place of this ID part. Okay, fine. Let's come down. Okay, so now the user will be here on this screen 4. Now we need to define the code for this button, the ID of which is OTP button 4. Let's come on this designing panel and copy the ID of this component from this ID section of the workspace. Let's go back on the coding panel and replace this ID with the ID we just copied. Okay, now we need to check whether the OTP the user has entered over here, is it good? Is it correct? Not. So for that we can make use of this if loop. Let's place it over here. Now I'm going to take the input, whatever the input the user is going to make over here in this input box, the ID of which is OTP4, and I'm going to match it with the text which the user is going to see over here on this screen 3's input box component. So the ID of this component is get OTP3, right? So let's go back on this designing panel and copy the ID of this component from here and place it over here. Okay, and I would like to get the text from this component also, so that's how we can do it, right? Okay, now if the text which the user is going to enter over here in this component, if it matches with the one which the user got to see in this component, so I would like the user to get redirected on this screen 5. So for doing that, we can make use of this set screen block, and let's replace this 4 with 5. Else if the user has entered an incorrect login credential, then what should happen? I would like the user to see this error message over here. So we can just replace this hide with show. Okay, fine. So we are done with defining the required code for this login button over here. Now let's come on this screen 5, and what do we have over here? So we have a beautiful image which you are able to see on this screen 5, and there is an input box. Okay, and here the user is required to enter his address, whatever address he want his food to get delivered at. He need to enter that address over here, and after that he can hit this button. Let's define the code for this locate 8 button. So let's make use of this on event block, and I'm going to place it over here. The ID of this button is locate 8. Okay, this is the one. Now when the user will hit this locate 8 button, I would like him to get redirected on this beautiful screen 6. For doing that, we can copy this thing and place it over here. Now we need to replace this 5 with 6, right? And besides that, whatever name he entered while logging into this app over here in this component, I would like that to get reflected over here on this screen 6 right on the top. And besides that, whatever address he entered over here in this component, I would like that to get reflected to him. I would like that to get reflected right on the top over here in this component to the user. Right, so how can we do that? We just have to make use of set text block, with which we can easily get the required output. So I'm going to make use of this set text block, which you can easily find in the UI control section of the toolbox. And let's place it just before this line of code, which is actually redirecting the user on this screen 6. So the first component for which I would like to set the text for is this component, the ID of which is name6. Let's replace it with name6. And from where can we get the input for this component? We can get it easily from this component, the ID of which is name, right? Okay, and besides that, let's copy this whole thing and place it just below this line of code. Now the second line of second component for the text of which I would like to define the code for is address 6. So let's replace it with address 6. Why I have named these components so? Just because they are present on this screen 6, that is the reason. Now from where can I get the input of this for this address 6 named component? I can get it from this component which is present on this screen 5, the ID of which is address 5. So that's how you can do it, right? So we haven't made use of the data browser yet. Okay, remember this thing. Just make a note of this thing somewhere. Okay, let's come back on this. Let's go back on this screen 6. Fine. So we have this background image over here. Okay, and then it's a simple image which you're seeing right now. And how can you get this image? You can, again, the same thing I would like to tell you, that you can download the Zomato's official app, take the snapshot of this screen, and then you can import it in this Applab. So there is only one component which I have defined besides these two on this screen. So the name of that component is, let me tell you what is the name of that component. It is burger6. So there is a label box which I've defined over this part of this image, right? The idea of this is burger6. Now I'm going to define the code for this burger6 named component. So for doing that, we can make use of this on-even block. I'm going to place it over here, and let's replace this ID with burger6. If you guys are enjoying this lecture, do like and share the video in your group so that more and more students can come and join the channel and enjoy these coding classes which I am providing free of cost on my YouTube channel named Gaurav Kumar Jain. And thank you very much in advance for doing that thing, supporting the channel. Okay, so let's convert it back into block-based coding, and I would like to make this app more interactive by adding some sound stuff to the on-even blocks I have defined till now. So the first play sound block I'm adding to this on-even block I've defined for this locate 8 button. Let's hit this choose button. So it is going to redirect us on this beautiful sounds library where we'll get to see different groups from where we can choose a relevant sound. So I'm going to choose this third sound. I like it. This is my favorite. Okay. Let's hit this choose button. So automatically the URL, the sound is going to get added to this play sound block like this. Let's copy this whole thing, and I'm going to place it in all the above uneven blocks. Okay, here also I'm going to place it. Fine, and okay, that's it, I think. Yeah. So let's convert it back into block-based coding, and now I'm going to select some other sound for this uneven block from the sounds library. So I'm going to go with this one. Similarly, I'm going to select some other sound for this OTP button 4 also. Let's go back. Let's come in this bell named group, and let's select this sound. Yeah, that is perfectly fine. Now we need to define the code for this burger6 named label box, right? So for doing that, we just have to make use of this set screen block and this play sound block. These are the only two things which we require for this uneven block. This one is going to help us in redirecting the user on the next screen, which is screen 8. Okay, and this one is going to help us in making this more interactive, this app more interactive, because with this we can add a sound to this uneven block we have defined. So I'm going to come on this notification group. Let's make use of this sound. Yeah. Okay, let's convert it back into text-based coding, and here when the user will come on this screen 8, he'll get to see this this kind of image. Now on this image there is nothing, there is no component. Fine, and as soon as the user will hit this image, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 9 where he can manipulate his order. He can change his order, he can add something if you want to add. Right, let's replace it with the screen 9, and let's change the sound also for this uneven block. and we need to replace this ID part also, right? What is the ID of that button which is present on this screen 8? So it is burger 8. We need to replace this 6 with 8. This is the only change which we are required to make right now. Let's hit this choose button and select a relevant sound from this Bell's group of the sounds library. Great. So I'm done with defining the code for all these screens. Now we need to come on this screen 9 and let's define the code for these components which are there present on this screen. So it is going to be little bit tough. You need to hear me very attentively. So the first thing that we have is this component which is present right on the top. So it is the name of this component is address 9, and I would like whatever address the user want the order to be delivered at. That address should be visible to the user on this screen right on the top in this component. So from where can we get the input for this field? That's what we have to think. So I think we can get it very easily with the help of this set text block. Okay, now the ID of this component is address 9. So we need to write down address 9 over here, and let's, from where can we get the input? So we can get it from this field, address 5 field. Okay, fine. Now let's come on this first part. So sorry. So it's a big mixed spicy paneer wrap extra value meal, and the cost of this meal is 308. Fine. And there are two buttons which I've defined over here. One with which the user can can minimize the order, or you can say can subtract one meal from the total price. And if you want to add if you want to add one more meal, if suppose you want 2 or 3 different meals, so he can just hit this add button over here. Okay, and automatically this thing is going to get incremented by 1, and the price which is getting reflected over here, it should also change accordingly. So by default it is 1, which is getting reflected right now over here right on the top in this label box over here. Now we need to define the relevant code for this minus button and for this plus 1 button. So I'm going to make use of this on even block. Let's place it over here. Now in order to count the number of times the user is going to hit these two buttons, so we can make use of a counter variable. So let's make use of x is equal to 0. So var is a keyword, as you very well know about, which we guys make use of on this JavaScript platform for declaring any variable, and then we can use this assignment operator for assigning a value to this variable. What is the ID of this component? It is plus 1. So every time the user will hit plus 1, I would like the value of x to get incremented by 1, and whatever the value of x is, I want that value to get reflected over here in this label box, the ID of which is big number. So how can we do that? We guys can make use of this set number property, because here we are dealing with numbers. So please don't make use of set text, otherwise it will throw an error. Definitely you're going to come across some or the other error. Okay, now the ID of this component is big number. Let's replace this ID with big number. I think everything is in small. Yes. Okay, from where can we get the input for this big number? We can get it from this variable x. Alright, now initially it should be equal to 1, because I don't want to see 0 getting reflected over here. So that is the reason I've initialized this x with 1. Okay, fine. Besides that, I would like this price which is getting reflected over here also to change. How can we do that? So we guys can again make use of this set number property. Let's place it over here. Now whatever the value of x is, it should be first multiplied by the total value of this meal, and whatever the result is, that result should be visible to the user, getting reflected in this label box, the ID of which is price 1. So for doing that, we can replace this with price 1, and let's multiply the value of x with 308.05, right? Okay, so I'm done with defining the required code for this label box, sorry, for this +1 button. Now let's copy this whole thing and paste it right in the bottom of this workspace, and replace and use this code for defining the relevant code, required code for this -1 button. So we need to first replace this +1 with -1. Okay, now every time the user will hit this button, I would like the value of x to go down by 1. That's how I can do it, right? And then, okay, rest everything is going to remain the same. Okay, let's now start defining the code for this add Coke button, which you can see over here on this screen 9. Right now the value of this Coke is 57.14. Okay, so if the user will hit this once, so I would like this price to get reflected over here. If he will hit this button twice, then then this price should be multiplied by 2, and the result should be visible to the user over here. That's how I would like to define the code for this add button over here in this workspace. Let's do that quickly. So for that, we can just copy this whole thing and place it over here. Okay, now I am going to make use of another variable for this Coke. That is, let's make use of Coke. Coke is equal to, so initially it is going to be 0, and as soon as the user will hit this button, I would like the value of this variable Coke to get incremented by 1. Now I would like to see the result getting reflected over here in this price Coke named label box. So how can we do that? We don't require this line of code, so I'm eliminating this. Okay, we need to set the number for this label box, the ID of which is price Coke. So let's replace this price 1 with price Coke. Okay, now we need to multiply the value of Coke with 57.14. Right. Okay, this is going to give us the correct output. Let's copy this whole thing and paste it over here, and now I'm going to use this whole thing for defining the required code, with which we can get the required output when the user will hit this add Fanta button. So this time I'm going to use this variable named Fanta for this button. Okay, now what is the ID of this button? It is add Fanta. So we need to replace this with add Fanta, and here we need to replace this variable Coke with Fanta, and here also we need to write down Fanta. Okay, now what is the ID of this label box? It is price Fanta. So we need to replace this price Coke with price Fanta like this, and after that we can replace this Coke with Fanta, and now we need to multiply this with 59 rupees. Why? Because the one Fanta costs 59. Okay, now once the user is done with making the required changes using these buttons over here, I would like the final price to get reflected over here. Do we have any other component on this screen on which we guys can make use of for getting the final price reflected? Let's check it out. And if we don't have any such component, then we will have to define that component. Okay, so there is one component which is present right in the bottom over here. Now the ID of this component is total 9. let me just define a border for this component so that it can be visible to us. Yes, now it is visible to us. Okay, fine. Now inside this I would like to see the total price. Okay, I would like the user to see the total price of his order. uh, Now how can we get the price reflected over here in real time? That's what we have to think. See, if he will use this button, then also there will be some changes happening in the total price which is going to get reflected over here. So we need to define the code for this price part in all these on even blocks which we have defined for these four buttons, right? Okay, so for doing that, see, the total will be equal to the price which is going to come here plus the price which is going to come over here and plus the price which is going to come over here, right? So what we can do, when the user will hit this +1 button, let's first define a variable, a counter variable, which we guys can make use of for calculating the total price of the order. Now every time the user will hit this plus button, the value of this variable is going to be calculated by this platform. So total is equal to get number. So I would like to get the number from this price 1. Okay, and then I would like to get the number from this component, the ID of which is price Coke, and then I would like to get the number from this component, the ID of which is price Fanta. Alright, so this formula is going to help us in calculating the total price of the order. And besides that, how can we get that total price reflected over here in this input box? That's also we have to think about. So the idea of this component is total 9. We guys can make use of this set number property, right? Set number. Now the ID of this component is total 9. Let's replace it with total 9, and after this we can get the number. We can get the number from which component? Okay, so the total price is getting saved in this total named variable, right? So we just need to write down total over here. Okay, so this is going to help us in getting the total price reflected over here in this total 9 named component. Let's copy these two lines of code and paste it in this uneven block, and also I would like to paste it in this +1 named even block, also in this one. Okay, I think I need to make some changes over here. What is the idea of this component? It is add Coke, right? So we need to write down add Coke over here. Yes, fine. So we are done with defining the required code for the price part. Now let's hit this play. Now let's define the code for this place the order button. So for that we require this uneven block. Okay, now as soon as the user will hit this button 2 for placing the order, I would like a table to get created on the data browser connected to this application, okay, with name order, in which I would like to save the following information. The first thing that I would like to save is the name of the person. So from where can I get the name of the person? I can get it from this component, the ID of which is name, which is present right on the very second screen of this app. Now the second thing I would like to save is the phone number of this user, because phone number is very important. So because the user is going to enter his phone number in the form of a number, so I would like, let's make use of this get number property. Now the idea of this component is phone1. From where can we get the input for this phone named field? What are the other things that we need to save? Let's check it out. Okay, then we have this address, not the address, let's save the OTP also. So OTP is going to be get text, and then the ID of this component is get OTP3. Let's come on this designing panel and copy the ID of this component from here. Now I'm going to paste it in between these two double inverted commas. And what are the other things we need to save? So the next thing I'm going to save is the address where the user want us to deliver the required order. ID of this component is address 5. So let's replace everything with address 5 over here in this input box. Okay, then on screen 6 we don't have anything. Okay, then let's come on this screen 9. So finally this total, I would like to say total. Okay, now what are the things he has ordered? That's what is the next thing we need to say. So meals, from where can we get the value for this meal section, how many meals he has ordered? So they are going to get saved in this variable x, right? So we can get it from x like this. Say then we need to save the number of cokes the user has ordered, so it is going to be coke. Then we need to save the number of Fanta bottles the user has ordered, so it is going to come in this what is the name of that variable? Yes, Fanta, right? Okay, besides this I need to save the total also, right? So from where can we get the total amount? We can get it from this field, the ID of which is total 9. Okay, in this way so these are the various things that we need to save in this order named component. Okay, and besides that, let's make it more interactive by adding a play speech block to this onEven block. I'm going to select this play speech from this UI controls part of the toolbox, and let's replace this whole thing with something like you placed your order successfully, wait for the admin to confirm your order. Okay, so this is what the user is going to hear once he is done with successfully placing his order on this platform. Now as soon as he will hit this place the order button, I would like this admin to receive a notification on this dashboard in real time. Okay, and I would like this admin to confirm the order as soon as he receives the notification. But first of all we need to define the code with which we can give the rights to the admin so that with which he can receive a notification on his respective dashboard in real time about this order. So for doing that, we guys just have to make use of this on record even block. Okay, now the table which is going to get created on the data browser is this order. Okay, and the event type which is taking place in this order named table is create, right? So we need not to make any changes over here in the second line of code. Let's eliminate everything whatever we have inside this if loop. Okay, now we need to make use of this read records block so as to read the required records from this order named table. Let's replace this my table with order. Okay, so what are the different things? I would like to see over here in real time. That's what we have to think. Okay, what we can do, we can get the total price reflected over here, and let's define one more thing. Just a second. Let's come on this designing panel, and here I am going to define a label box also. So whoever has placed the order, I would like his phone number to be visible to the admin, as a notification over here on his dashboard. Let's replace this text with something like nothing. Okay, I'm eliminating everything from here. Okay, and initially I don't want the admin to see this email named component. So for doing that, we just have to make use of this hide element block, and let's define this for this email named component. So now when the admin will come on this screen, this component will not be visible to the admin, right? Now as soon as the order will be placed, set text, the text for this email named component will be set equal to the phone number. Let's do one thing, let's make it phone number, because we don't have anything like email for the user. I just want the phone number to be visible to the admin, right? And let's replace it with phone, and I think rest everything is good to go. Okay, phone, fine. Now the text of this phone field, I set it equal to the phone number of the user who is going to place the order. Okay, and besides, I would like this to be visible to the admin. So for that, we need to make use of this show element block, and let's place it over here. Okay, and besides this, I would like set number. I would like the total of the order to be visible to the admin, getting reflected over here in this input box, the ID of which is total. So for doing that, we can make use of the set number property. Now here we are trying to set the number for this total named component, and from where can we get the required information for this component? We can get it from this total named field, which is going to get created in this order named table. Okay, now once the user gets the notification on his panel, let's make it more interactive first. Just a second, where is that play speech block? Or else let's make use of this play sound this time. This is also good. This is also a good option, right, for making the app interactive. Do like it, don't forget to like and share this video, please. I would like this video to reach to the maximum students possible, so that they can also come and join these free or online coding classes I'm providing on my channel to the students. Okay, so now I'm done with adding this play sound block to this on record event block. Okay, now after receiving the notification, I would like the admin to input a time slot, a time frame in between which his staff will be able to deliver the order at the to the person who is requested for the order. Okay, so here I am going to first replace the ID of this component to time frame. Now as soon as the admin will hit this confirm named button, I would like a table to get created on the data browser connected to this application, in which I would like certain things to get saved. Confirm is the name of the table, and then I would like the phone number of the user to be there in that table. So let's make use of this get number property. So you can easily find in the UI, you can easily find it in the UI controls part of the toolbox, and you just have to place it over here. Get number, from where do we want to get the number? The idea of this component is phone. So let's replace it with phone. Okay, and what else do we require? Time frame, right? So we can get the time frame from this component, the idea of which is time frame. And besides this, one more thing is the total. The idea of this component is get total. Fine. Okay. Now, as soon as the user, the admin will hit this confirm button, this is a code which is going to get executed, and you know, once the admin is done with hitting this button, I would like everything which whatever is getting reflected over here to go disappear. Whatever is going to get reflected over here to go disappear. So for doing that, we can make use of this set number property. Where is that? Set number. This is the one. So set number, I'm going to make use for this total named field. Total, and I'm passing a null value. Okay, and then let's make use of set text property for this field time frame. I would like nothing to be visible to the user, and besides I would like to set the text of this phone named component also. Okay, and let's do one more thing. We would like the phone named component to go disappear completely from the screen. So that's how we can do it, right? Okay. Now, how can this user, where is that user? Okay, how can this user will be able to get the required information on this screen 10? Screen 10 is very much similar to admin screen. Okay, so once the user is done with placing the order, the first thing I would like to do is he should also be redirected on this screen 10 once he's done with placing the order. So for doing that, what we can do, we can come on this on event block where we have defined the code for this button too. Okay, and inside this we can make use of this set screen block. Okay, now here I'm going to write down what is the ID of this screen. It is a screen 10, right? Okay, so once the user is done with placing the order, he's going to come on this screen. Now initially nothing is going to be visible to the user over here. The only thing that will be visible to the user is the total amount of the order. And how can we make that happen? We can make use of this set number property for this total 10 named field, total 10. Okay, and from where can we get the input for this component? We can get it from this total 9 named component. Okay, and now when the admin will hit that button, will hit this confirm order button, in real time this confirm table is going to get created in the app on the data browser connected to this app. Now from that table I would like the time frame to get pulled up, and it should be visible to the user over here in this input box. How can I make it possible? How can we make it possible? That's what we have to think about now. And we would like to fetch the data in real time. Okay, so here I am replacing the ID of this component to time. Now what we can do, we can make use of this on record event block, and I'm placing it over here. Now the ID of the table which is going to get created when the admin will hit that confirm order button is this confirm. Let's replace it with confirm. We need not to make any changes over here in this field. We just have to eliminate everything, whatever we have inside this if loop. And let's now make use of this read records block in order to read the specific information from this confirm named table. So I would like to read the information for the user whose phone number is equal to the one which the user is going to enter over here, okay, in this component. Okay, so that's how we can define the required code. And let's now fetch the time frame from this confirm named table and get the same reflected in this component. So for doing that, we can make use of this setText property, and the ID of this component is time. Alright, and in order to fetch the required information for this time named component, we just have to write down this line of code over here. So records I.time is going to give us the correct output. Right, let's make it more interactive by adding a play speech block to this on record event. Where is that play speech block? This is the one. I'm going to place it inside this read records block just after the point where this for loop is ending. And now the user is going to hear something like this. Hi user, admin has confirmed your order. You will receive it very soon. So this is what the user is going to hear. Fine, we are done with defining all the required code in this workspace. Now let's check out the output this code is going to give us. So I'm going to make use of this link and run this app on two different browsers now. On the first browser, I am going to access the admins panel, and on the second one, I will be accessing the users panel. Here I go with the link. Don't forget to like and share this video so that it can reach to the maximum students possible. And I would like, more and more students to join my channel and learn these coding things I'm teaching on my channel. And thank you very much to every one of you who is supporting the channel, who is regularly sharing the videos, sharing the links of the videos which I'm posting on my channel, and also attending the lectures which I am taking on my channel. Thank you so very much. Okay, so when the user will access the app on his device, so this is the screen he is going to come across. Okay, let's hit this Zomato's button. So this is what the user is going to come across. Now, in order to access the admins panel on this first device, we need to hit this label box which we have placed over here on this image.
Hi admin. Welcome to the admin dashboard.
So welcome to the admin dashboard, and here I'm going to enter my phone number, and let me enter my name. So Gaurav Jain. And when I will hit this send OTP button, let's see what I am going to get.
Hi user. Kindly note down the below OTP.
Okay, so the OTP with which I can log in into the system is Z53019. Z53019. Okay, let's hit this login button and see what's gonna happen. Okay, so here I need to write down my complete address. So Shastri Nagar GZB. Now I'm going to hit this button. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, so as you can see right on the top, my name is getting reflected, and the address which I just inserted in one of the components which was there in the previous screen is also getting reflected on this screen right on the top. Now I need to purchase a burger. Let's hit this label box which we have placed on this screen. Now I'm going to hit this beautiful image over here. Okay, so I'm there on this screen where I can manipulate my order. I can play with my order. So before, let's hit this plus button. Okay, I'm able to see the required changes getting reflected over here. Right. Okay. Fine. So this is my order. So 924 for the meal, then the 114 for this Coke, and 118 for this Fanta thing. Right. Let's hit this place the order button and see what's gonna happen. Whether this admin will receive the order. Whether this admin will receive a notification in real time on his respective panel or not. Let's check it out.
You placed your order successfully. Wait for
Great.
the admin to confirm your order.
So the admin received a notification in real time on his panel, and as you can see, the number which I entered is getting reflected right on the top of this admin's device. Let's enter a time frame over here. So in between 8 to 9 a.m. the admin will be able to deliver the order. Let's hit this confirm order button and see what is going to happen. Whether this user will be able to receive a notification in real time on his respective device or not.
Hi user. Admin has confirmed your order.
So
You will receive it very soon.
The user received a notification in real time on his device, and this time slot is also mentioned over here, in between which this order which he placed will be delivered by the admin's team to him. Okay, so that's how you can develop a real-time application on this beautiful Applab platform, and these are the two tables which are going to get created. These are the various information which you will get to see in this order name table, and this is the information you are going to see in this confirm name table. Hope you guys enjoyed this lecture a lot. Do like and share this video in your group so that more and more students can come and join this channel and learn to code free of course. If you have any query, you guys are most welcome to reach me through the comment section. You just have to put your queries over there. Definitely, whenever I will get the time, I'm going to reply to your queries. Fine. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye bye.